Have you ever reached for something on a shelf and felt just a little wobbly? Or stepped off a curb and your foot didn't quite land where you expected it to? Maybe you've caught yourself grabbing the counter just to be safe and then laughed it off like it was nothing. But deep down, you noticed it. You felt that flicker of uncertainty. You are not alone. So many people feel this way, and most never talk about it because it can feel a little embarrassing to admit. But here's the good news. There is one simple exercise that can help with all of that. It takes less than 5 minutes a day. You don't need any special equipment, and you can do it right in your kitchen, holding onto the counter for support. Stick with me through this video because by the end, you will know exactly how to do this exercise step by step, safely, at your own pace. Let's get started. Let's talk for a moment about why balance matters so much, especially once we get into our 60s, 70s, and beyond. Balance is not just about avoiding a fall, although that is certainly important. Balance is about independence. It is about being able to get down on the floor to play with your grandchildren and get back up again without a second thought. It is about traveling to new places, working in the garden, dancing at a family wedding, or simply walking to the mailbox without any fear in the back of your mind. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, falls are one of the leading causes of injury among older adults. That is a serious statement, and I do not share it to scare you. I share it because I want you to understand why this topic deserves real attention. Not because it is something to fear, but because it is something you can actually do something about. Here is something important to understand. Balance does not decline simply because of age alone. A big part of the decline we see is due to disuse. When we stop challenging our balance system, day after day, our body assumes we no longer need it, and those skills quietly fade into the background. It is a little bit like a muscle that is never used. Over time, it gets weaker, not because it has to, but because it has not been asked to work. The wonderful news is that balance is trainable at any age. This is not wishful thinking. This is basic physiology. Your nervous system, your muscles, your inner ear, and your brain's ability to coordinate all of these systems together. They can all adapt and improve with the right kind of practice. Your body is remarkably adaptable, even later in life. It simply needs the right kind of input, given consistently over time. Organizations like the National Institute on Aging and the CDC both recommend balance training as a core part of healthy aging, right alongside strength training and cardiovascular exercise. It is not an extra, something to squeeze in if you have time left over. It is considered essential, just as important as any other part of staying healthy and active. Think about balance as a skill, similar to riding a bicycle or playing a musical instrument. If you do not practice, you get a little rusty. But if you practice a little bit, consistently, you get better, sometimes surprisingly quickly. Even if you have not specifically trained your balance in years, your body still remembers how to learn. It is never too late to begin. And here is something truly encouraging. You do not need complicated routines. You do not need fancy equipment. You do not need a gym membership or a personal trainer. The exercise we are about to cover can be done at home, in your own kitchen or living room, and it directly targets the muscles and the nervous system pathways responsible for keeping you steady on your feet. This is not about becoming a gymnast or an athlete. This is about being able to stand up from a chair with confidence, walking on uneven sidewalks without fear of stumbling, turning around quickly when someone calls your name from across the room, stepping into the shower safely without that moment of hesitation. These are the everyday moments where good balance quietly makes all the difference in your life. So let's talk about what this exercise actually is and exactly how to do it safely, no matter your current fitness level or mobility. The single best exercise for improving balance is called the single leg stance. In simple terms, this means standing on one leg for a period of time, while holding onto support if you need it. And most people do need some support at first, so please do not feel like you have to skip that part. Why is this particular exercise so effective? Because it directly challenges every system in your body responsible for balance. Your muscles, your joints, your inner ear, and your brain's ability to coordinate all of them together in real time. When you stand on one leg, your body has to make dozens of tiny adjustments every single second just to keep you upright. Over time, practicing this teaches your body to make those adjustments faster, more efficiently, and more automatically, so that in real life, when you step on an uneven patch of sidewalk or catch your foot on a rug, your body already knows how to respond. The beautiful thing about this exercise is that it is fully adjustable to you, whether you are already fairly steady on your feet or you are working with more limited mobility. There is a version of this that works for your body right now, today. Let's break this down into clear, safe steps. We are going to start from the very beginning with a seated version and build up gradually from there. Please do not skip ahead, even if a later step looks easy to you. Building a strong, stable foundation first is exactly what keeps this practice safe and effective. Before we do anything else, let's talk about setting up your space, because honestly, this matters just as much as the exercise itself. Find a sturdy chair, a kitchen counter, or a solid wall that will not move or tip if you lean your weight on it. Pause here for a moment and go find that spot in your home right now if you can. Avoid chairs with wheels and avoid anything flimsy like a small side table. A kitchen counter is often the best choice because it is heavy, stable, and usually at a comfortable height. Wear shoes with good grip on the bottom or go barefoot on a surface that is not slippery. Try to avoid wearing just socks on hardwood or tile floors since they can slide out from under you. Make sure the area around you is clear of clutter and check for any loose rugs that might bunch up under your feet. Once your space is ready and safe, we can begin. If you have limited mobility, or you are simply not yet comfortable standing for exercises like this, we start here in a chair. This is not a lesser version of the exercise. It is simply your starting point, and it still builds real strength and coordination in exactly the muscles you need. Sit tall in a sturdy chair, with both feet flat on the floor in front of you. Now, slowly lift one foot just a few inches off the ground. Just a few inches is all we need. There is no need to lift it high. Hold that position steadily for a count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now slowly lower your foot back down to the floor. Switch to the other side and lift your other foot a few inches off the ground. Hold for 5 seconds again and lower it back down gently. This seated exercise trains your hip muscles and your core, the very same muscles you will rely on later for standing balance. It also gets your brain used to the sensation of shifting your weight onto one side of your body, which is a skill in itself. Repeat this 5 times on each leg, taking your time between repetitions. There is absolutely no rush here. As this becomes easier over the coming days and weeks, you can gradually increase your hold time. Try for 10 seconds and eventually 15. When lifting your foot for 15 seconds feels comfortable and easy, you may be ready to think about progressing further, but only when you feel ready, never before. Once you are comfortable and steady with the seated version, and if your doctor or physical therapist has confirmed that standing exercises are appropriate for you, we can move on to the standing version. Stand facing your counter or a sturdy chair and place both hands on it for support. Position your feet about hip-width apart and stand up nice and tall, letting your shoulders relax down and back. Now, gently shift your weight onto one leg. Slowly lift your other foot just an inch or 2 off the floor. That's it. You are now doing the single leg stance. Hold this position for 5 seconds to begin with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gently place your foot back down onto the floor. Now switch sides. Shift your weight onto the other leg and lift the opposite foot. Hold for 5 seconds and lower it back down. Notice how your standing leg has to work to keep you steady. That small wobbling sensation and the way your body corrects it automatically. That is exactly what we want. That is your balance system being actively trained in real time. With every single repetition, try doing 3 to 5 repetitions on each leg, resting for a moment whenever you need to. There is no rush, and there is no reward for pushing through fatigue. Once 5 seconds feels easy and comfortable over the course of several sessions, we gradually build from there. Here is a simple progression to follow, moving at your own pace over days or weeks. Never all at once in a single sitting. Begin with 5 seconds per leg, then move to 10 seconds, then 15 seconds, then 20 seconds, and eventually 30 seconds per leg. 30 seconds might sound like a long time when you first hear it, but you will likely be surprised at how quickly your body adapts with regular, consistent practice. The key word there is consistent. A little bit, often, beats a lot, occasionally, every single time. It is worth repeating. Only move on to the next level once your current level feels stable and comfortable. There is no prize for rushing through these stages. Slow, steady progress is exactly what builds real, lasting improvements in your balance. This next part is optional, and it is only for those who have already mastered the previous steps with real confidence and who have been cleared by their doctor for more advanced balance work. Instead of using both hands flat on the counter, try using just one or two fingers for light support instead. Notice the difference there? You are now relying much more on your own sense of balance, using your fingers simply as a light safety net rather than a full support. When you try this, go back to practicing your holds starting at 5 seconds again, even if you were already comfortably holding 30 seconds with your full hand on the counter. This is genuinely a harder version of the exercise, so it is completely normal and expected to start back at the beginning. Only if this fingertip version becomes easy and steady over time should you even consider trying it, without any support at all. And if you do, please do this only while standing right next to your counter or chair. Never out in the open middle of a room. Safety always comes first in every single step of this process. There is no rush to reach the hardest version of this exercise. Many people benefit enormously just from the supported versions alone, and that is perfectly fine. There is no shame in that whatsoever. For those who have already built a strong foundation and are looking for an extra challenge, here is one advanced variation worth mentioning. While standing on one leg with light support nearby, slowly turn your head from side to side, looking left, then right, then back to center. This challenges your inner ear and your vision systems at the very same time as your standing balance, which actually mimics real life quite closely, like looking both ways before crossing a street. Again, this is entirely optional, and it is only appropriate for those who are already steady and confident with the basic version of this exercise. Now let's talk about how often you should actually practice this. Consistency matters here far more than intensity does. This is not about pushing yourself hard once a week and calling it done. This is about doing a little bit, often, woven naturally into your everyday routine. Here is a simple guideline to follow. Try to practice your single leg stance for about 5 minutes total most days of the week. You could do this while waiting for your morning coffee to brew, or while brushing your teeth at the sink, since you are already standing there anyway. In fact, that is a wonderful way to build this new habit into your life. Pair it with something you are already doing every single day. Brushing your teeth is a perfect example because you are already standing at the sink, often with a counter or ledge right there to hold on to. Try 2 minutes on each leg while you brush, both morning and night. That alone, done consistently, can make a real and noticeable difference over just a few weeks. I want to encourage you to notice the small wins along the way, because they matter more than you might think. Balance improvements can feel subtle from one day to the next, but they add up to something powerful over the course of weeks and months. You might notice that you feel steadier climbing out of the car, or that you no longer grip the stair railing quite as tightly as you used to, or that you can stand comfortably on one leg to put on your pants in the morning, without needing to hold on to anything at all. These are real, meaningful signs of progress, and they deserve to be celebrated. Consider keeping a simple little note somewhere, just jotting down your hold times once a week or so. Watching 5 seconds slowly become 15, and then 20, can be a genuinely wonderful source of motivation on days when you need it. I want to pause here and say something important because it matters. Some days, your balance will simply feel better than others, and that is completely normal. Fatigue, the timing of medications, even how much sleep you got the night before, all of these things can affect your balance on any given day. Please do not be discouraged if one day feels harder than the last one did. This is not a sign of failure on your part. It is simply how bodies work for all of us at every age. Show up and do what you comfortably can on that particular day, and trust the process over the longer run. Now let's talk about a few common mistakes, because avoiding these will help keep you safe and will help you get better results from all your hard work. The first mistake is skipping the warm-up entirely. Jumping straight into balance exercises with cold, stiff muscles is not ideal. Take just a minute or two beforehand to march gently in place or do some easy ankle circles first. This helps wake up your muscles and joints before you begin. The second common mistake is practicing on unstable surfaces too soon. Some people assume that standing on a pillow or a foam pad makes the exercise more effective right from the start. For beginners, this can actually be genuinely unsafe. Always master a stable, flat surface first, and only ever consider anything uneven later on, and only with proper professional guidance. The third mistake is holding your breath without realizing it. It is very common to unconsciously hold your breath when you are concentrating hard on balancing. This can actually make you feel more unsteady, and it can briefly raise your blood pressure as well. Remember to breathe normally and steadily all the way through the exercise. The fourth mistake, and one worth repeating, is rushing the progression from one level to the next. Moving to a harder version before you are truly ready is the single most common mistake I see people make. There is no rush whatsoever. Slow and steady genuinely wins here, both for your safety and for your actual long-term results. The fifth mistake is removing your support before you are truly ready for it. Please do not take your hand off the counter simply because you saw someone else doing the exercise without any support. Everyone's starting point is different, and that is completely okay. Use whatever support you need for as long as you need it. That is not weakness, that is wisdom. Plain and simple. The sixth mistake is practicing in a cluttered or slippery area. Always double-check your space before you begin. Loose rugs, pets underfoot, or a wet floor are all real and avoidable risks. Take just 30 seconds before you start each session to make sure your area is completely clear and safe. The seventh mistake is continuing to practice while feeling dizzy or unwell. If you are feeling lightheaded, dizzy, or simply unwell on a given day, please skip your balance practice for that day and rest instead. There will always be tomorrow. Pushing through dizziness is not brave. It is genuinely risky, and it is simply not worth it. And the eighth mistake is comparing yourself to others. Your neighbor might be able to stand on one leg for a full minute without any support at all. That is wonderful for them, but it is not the goal here for you. Your only meaningful comparison should be to yourself last week and last month. Progress looks different for everyone, and that is perfectly okay. Avoiding these simple mistakes will make this exercise both safer for you and considerably more effective over time. Let's do a quick recap of everything we covered today. The single leg stance is one of the most effective exercises for improving balance, and it is supported by general guidance from organizations like the CDC and the National Institute on Aging. As a key part of healthy aging for older adults, we started with a seated version, lifting one foot at a time while sitting tall in a sturdy chair. We progressed to standing with both hands on support, lifting one foot slightly off the ground. We talked about gradually building your hold time, moving from 5 seconds all the way up to 30 seconds, only ever progressing when you truly feel ready. We covered how to slowly reduce your support over time, and we even touched on an optional advanced variation involving gentle head turns. And throughout all of it, we talked about the real importance of consistency. Just a few minutes a day, most days of the week, is genuinely enough to see real, meaningful improvement. Remember, this is not about achieving perfection. This is about showing up for yourself a little bit, each and every day. Your body is capable of remarkable adaptation at any age when you give it a real chance to adapt. If this video helped you today, I would love for you to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you have not already. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who need this exact information. And if you have a parent, a neighbor, or a friend who could benefit from watching this, please consider sharing it with them. You truly never know whose independence and confidence you might help protect by doing something as simple as sharing a video. please drop a comment down below and let me know how your practice goes. I read every single comment, and I genuinely love hearing about your progress along the way. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Take good care of yourself, be patient with your body, and I will see you in the next video.